You are listening to the Icehouse podcast, hosting conversations with gritty Kiwi business owners and leaders and industry-leading minds.
Kia ora everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Icehouse podcast. I'm Bryar, the community manager, and today we are talking to Karrina Mountfort. Karrina is the director and head of technology of Webbased. Webbased are all about data-driven digital solutions and AI, so there was lots of interesting conversation around what they're doing in that space. She's also the co-founder of Tikiteen and Tikiteboo. Tikiteboo is an online thrifted and dead stock fashion platform, and Tikiteen is an organisation and initiative that is empowering youth through fashion. We discuss Karrina's journey of entrepreneurship, bringing her businesses to life, the why behind them, the ways that technology can empower and support small businesses, and her deep passion for giving time back to business owners so they can do the things that they are good at. We also discuss what it's like working with her daughter on those different projects and working to their strengths and awesome ideas that she has for these initiatives that are giving back to teens who are starting work but lacking access to appropriate work clothing, all around promoting confidence and opening doors. I loved that conversation. We also discuss her experiences working from the Icehouse Coworking space in Parnell, Auckland. There's lots of goodness in this episode. I hope you enjoy it. Let's jump into the recording now. Welcome, Karrina, to the Icehouse podcast. It's so nice to have you here.
Thank you.
We like to start this podcast with quite an open question, and that is, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Karrina? What are you passionate about?
Awesome, thank you. I'm a 43-year-old mum of an 18-year-old daughter who's first year at Auckland Uni studying pharmacology, and a stepmother to 3 other children who are 20, 17 and 15.
Wow.
I'm passionate about my animals. I have a 1-year-old French Bulldog and a 13-year-old Chihuahua. My family life is very, very important to me, and business and entrepreneurship and building a future for my family and future generations through good business legacies.
That's so cool. And you're definitely doing that. I can't wait to dive into the businesses that you have on the go right now. I want to hear what a day in the life of you looks like. So that alarm goes off in the morning. What does it look like from there?
Well, interestingly enough, I've actually been a mum for so long that this year I said to myself, I'm actually turning the alarms off. So I wake up when I wake up, which is usually sometimes between 5 and 7. I get up and I walk Bentley on Koe Beach. Sometimes if we have time, we go for a trip around the park as well. That's a really important part for me, that I'm trying to prioritise, my health for the day as well. And then depending on my schedule, then I start to address sort of anything that's urgent for clients and our brand matters, and then get into making sure that the team are on the case for any projects that we're working on, and where they sit in that. And then finally my own tasks for the day, which can be varied depending on, again, sort of what we've got going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's cool to hear. What inspired you to become an entrepreneur, and how has that journey shaped your perspective on business and on life?
So it was around the flexibility to work around my daughter was why. I was a single mum at the time, and so it was really important to be there for her, whilst also obviously building a business to support us, and for myself as a person. So it's given me so much joy to be able to sort of change. I mean, business has changed so much in the time that I've been in business in the last sort of 20 years. So it's really exciting for me each day to be a part of that, and how that sort of shapes me as a person by the experiences that I have in that, but in business.
Yeah, that's great. For those listening going, I'm dying to know, what does she do? Can you tell us a little bit about your businesses that you have and that you run, and how that fits in with what a day in the life looks like?
Cool, yes. So I have Webbased. So we have been in business for 15 or so years now as Webbased, and we build bespoke digital solutions for people. So it might be something like a website that needs an accreditation process, so we build the front end and the UX and how that process works, and then implement it to develop the back end. That can be varied according to what different projects are that people require in the businesses that we work with, but we're also now diving into AI, which is the big part that we're working on, to build custom GPTs, so things like bots on websites, onboarding bots for people that are starting in a company.
Wow.
We build the UX of that, so the processes of what that looks like to someone that's using that, and then build it and implement it on their digital platforms.
I'm going off script already, but when AI came about, what was the aha moment for you of going, I'm going to tap into this?
So I think it's because of the websites that we build, we see how people need to interact with those. That's the biggest thing. And that is a really time-consuming part of things that people just don't have the time for. So if you think of a typical website, someone jumps on board and you ask a question, you want to know what that is, and your customer wants that person to know what that is without them having to be a part of it. So for the websites that we've built, we have quite defined processes, and we then thought, why don't we take those processes and then build that next step as well of the website being then fully interactive with that person.
Great.
I mean, obviously to a certain extent you need a person at some point, but taking those sort of mundane tasks out of people's lives each day, so allowing them to do human required things.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, that's so cool. I love it. What was that first step in taking Webbased to life? So you decided that you wanted to have your own business for flexibility purposes, and you've obviously got skill set in certain areas. Can you remember how did you go about that to start things off?
So I actually had a previous agency, and we had some connections with people that we helped do things for when we started off. So they had marketing people that had sort of gaps in their knowledge, for example, some car dealerships, some printing companies, and they needed someone that sort of knew digital and at that stage still traditional marketing as well, and the things required for that. So I helped sort of support the internal people that they had. So that sort of formed that understanding of there's quite a big market for this sort of thing. And I did that for a while Bella was young. And then I started going out and approaching and sort of diversifying in the offerings that we had. We did lots of cool things at that stage, which gave us a really good foundation of work to build on that portfolio for other clients.
Yeah, brilliant. That's so cool. Have there been any pain points on that journey though, in terms of, every business owner has a few challenges here and there. Are there any that stick out to you, and maybe how did you overcome those?
Pain points for me personally in business is the time that you have each day, hence the fact I'm so big on AI.
Yes.
So that's the biggest thing of, expecting that things were going to be done potentially in one day that roll into the next day, and then that sort of didn't really, that's sort of quite tough when you've got an understanding of, right, I'm going to get all these things done, and you don't.
Yeah.
And then sort of working with other people, especially digitally, remotely, it's actually just keeping them connected. The biggest pain point we have is people starting and stopping their timers. This is hilarious, but starting and stopping their timers for particular tasks. So if they're working on a task, they time, obviously, the time that they're working on those things, and that's the biggest pain point I've found with remote working is, so if we've got one of our devs is working on one client and they're like, oh cool, it took us an hour to do this, and then they switch to the next client, they forget to actually switch their timer. So that's been one of my biggest pain points, as funny as it is.
It's never crossed my mind.
Of remote working. That is the biggest pain point. Other than that, we've been really lucky with implementing the systems that we have to sort of manage other pain points along the way.
Yeah, totally. Has culture building been a hard element of having a remote team, or not as hard as you thought, or what does that look like?
I think the people that we work with are quite used to this way of working. They're people that they're people that are based around technology.
Yeah.
So I think it's been easy from that perspective. That they're used to that anyway, a lot of them. And we found that it was actually easier to connect people online and sort of chats and through our software than it was to have people coming in, because then it just sort of made it easier for everybody to be remote. We had one lady that used to come from Tuakau, and she would spend, say, 2 hours on the way to work to get to, we were then based in Newmarket. So then she would miss sort of meetings that we had with other people online that were part of the team that she was working in. So we have actually found it easier to build that, because I can connect them easier because everyone's in that one place at one time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, especially like you say, the industry you're in is so technology focused that it makes sense when they are remote. Yeah. Yes. No, that makes sense. Cool. On that point of technology, in what ways do you think technology can empower and support small businesses?
So this is one of my favourite things. We're about sustainably helping businesses scale and maintain their businesses, and so we implement and use technology and especially AI at the moment to be able to sort of allow people to do the human jobs in their daily tasks. So the same sort of thing of what I'm talking about is if you can automate and use technology to actually do things that someone doesn't really need to be doing, then they can do the innovative things that humans do best. So we use that for things like automating repetitive tasks, obviously data analysis. It's really building personalised customer experiences, all sorts of different things like that sort of allow people to do the innovative things that they are best at.
I love that thought of technology enabling people to do what they are good at and to bring the human element to business. But when we don't give time to that, then it can be hard to sort of rise as a business and do great work, because you're so focused on doing things that you're not that good at and you're struggling to automate or whatever. So I love that thought. That's really really helpful. I want to change gears a bit to Tikiteboo, your organisation that you've co-founded, where you're on a mission to provide outfits for teens and young people who are starting to study or work but lack access to appropriate work clothing that promotes confidence, open doors, and sets them on a path to success. I absolutely love that. Tell us more about this organisation and what was that light bulb moment to make this happen?
Cool. So Tikiteen is part of a bigger marketplace that we've built. So we have Tikiteboo, which is a top-tier fashion thrifted and dead stock marketplace. And how it came about is that last year we ran our launch event, which was an in-person market in Parnell. And Bella and I were planning doing, all of the different plan around how we implemented this as sustainably as possible.
Yeah.
So we had some girls that were going off overseas, so they were having a stall to clear out what they had, and we had other people that were like, look, I'm not going to use this again. What do we do with it at the end of it? So Bella and I were like, how can we sustainably dispose of these items to people that need these? So that's where it came about. It was thinking, this lady doesn't want these items anymore, but somebody else does, and somebody else needs those. So how do we join those two together, which is how it came about. So it was part of being sustainable as well as helping our community.
Yeah, wow, that's so cool. And what an incredible social impact that you guys are having in terms of, being able to set people up for success and give them the confidence they need to walk into unfamiliar and scary environments at times. It's really cool. Have you heard any sort of impact stories or any stories back from people where it's had an impact on them?
So we're in the early stages of it. We've connected with different community initiatives that are starting to deliver that. So as you'll see, we've got the collection box here at the Icehouse.
Yes.
And so that is adding to what we had from the market as our first launch, if
Cool.
you like.
Awesome.
So we are just on those first steps of actually arranging that event for the first time for people to actually access these. But we've had so much excitement about it from other people too. It's just been amazing.
Yeah, well, I was even just talking to our CEO, Liz, who said like, oh yes, like, me and my daughter, we went through our wardrobes and popped things in and, you know, just so excited to be able to give back to an organisation like that. So I think that's really incredible. So Bella's your daughter.
Correct.
So I love this dynamic that I'm seeing. So mum and daughter business / organisation. How did it come about? Did she mention it to you? Did you have an aha moment together?
Yeah, that's awesome. So, and a good question. We, as you probably know yourself, being a lady, we have a lot of clothing.
Yes.
And having 3 teenage girls, we had a lot of clothing. And actually, Bella was going overseas to compete in surf lifesaving in Australia, and she was thinking about ways she could contribute to that. And she was looking at all these clothes that she had that she wasn't going to wear anymore. So she set up her first sale, and she promoted that through our community notice board on Facebook, and she had so many people come along and get things.
Cool.
And the mothers were like, this is amazing, you know, you should do more of this. So then we thought, well, if we've got this much stuff as one family, think of all the other, you know, people and families that have this too. So how do we build a marketplace to actually, and it's predominantly geared around Gen Z, to be able to give them a cool place to hang out that is where they can build their own e-stores. So that's sort of how it came about. Was Bella had so many things herself.
It was a need.
Yes.
Yeah, which is what most great businesses start with.
Yeah.
I love the website, love the design.
Thank you.
Who did that?
Myself and
Yeah,
Bella.
yeah.
So I build these things every day anyway.
course.
So obviously we had a very big advantage with that. Still takes time, obviously, but so we've implemented that ourselves.
So a bit of creative direction from her, and then obviously you can implement and you put in your creative direction.
Yes, yeah. So just working together. She has limited time with her studies at the moment, especially, you know, this first sort of year, getting used to university versus year 13, which has been a big change.
Yeah.
So I'm flexible with her on what she can do. Obviously, she helps hugely in the, you know, the social side of things.
Yeah,
of course. Been in that sort of
being a Gen Z herself.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very cool. Like you said, I have personally seen the boxes around for collections here at the Icehouse, and awesome to have you part of our co-working space as a co-working tenant. Want to talk a little bit about that. How long have you been working from the space, and why do you work within a co-working space?
Okay, cool. So I was here many years ago, actually, when Webbased first started up, and then I moved closer back to school while Bella was at school, because I used to have to go and drop things to her during the day, and it was easy to be right by school.
Nice.
So then last year in June, actually, I came back and helped sort of, there was a mentor came in and spoke for a group of business students, and through Andy, and so I came in and spoke to them, and I was like, I've got to come back here. I love this. Now that I've got time with, you know, Bella going off to uni and that sort of thing, I really need to be part of this space again. So
Wow.
June last year I came back.
Wow, that's so cool to hear. And didn't realise that you'd been in the space prior as well. Yeah, that's great. Cool. So a few fun co-working space questions. What is your favourite element of the space?
The people. Tash and Simon are awesome.
Aren't they? They're so amazing.
Anytime I need anything, they're always there to help. I also like that there's other people at various stages of business journeys here too. So when it's a tough day, you know that you're not alone. You know that it is part of business, and it just really helps that foster that sense of sort of my resilience of, you know, a bad day is not a bad week, is not a bad month. You know,
great.
so just keep going. So that's the biggest things for me is the welcoming element of the team here, and then the awesome space. Also the fact I can bring Bentley here too. Really helps.
Dog-friendly space.
Yeah,
That's cool. If you could add something to the space, what would you add?
I was trying to think of that, and to be honest, I can't really think of anything else. For me, it's got everything that I need. I've really enjoyed this London meeting room sort of been refurbished. We're going to use that for some of our Tikiteboo talent that we're taking on. Cool. So we're quite excited about the sort of space in here.
Yeah, it's great.
So I can't really think of anything else, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's one. That's good.
Yes.
Yeah, this is something that a good question to ask. What are the main efficiencies for the business that come from working in a shared space? Because, we do have a lot of small, medium-sized businesses that instead of having their own lease or their own taking on something big, they come into a co-working space. For you personally, what are the efficiencies as a business owner of actually having a co-working option?
Yeah, that exact what you've just mentioned. And also, the access to this space that we, as a small business couldn't afford ourselves. Yep. So we've got lots of events that we're planning coming up. We've got, I've got a really cool idea for a Tikiteboo fashion show down the hallway out there.
Yes, I love that.
So it's just really the access to this type of space that we wouldn't be able to have on our own, and the ability to invite other people in to be part of that, for meetings and, different people that we work with and things.
Yeah.
So yes, that's probably the biggest thing.
That's great. Do you have any other staff members that work from here with you, or is it just yourself that works from here and then everyone's remote?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So Bella occasionally, we've got new talent coming in for Tikiteboo that will come in and, film stuff here and that sort of thing, but not on the ground all the time. That may change in the next sort of 12 months. We're just seeing how things are going, but we find that it's the travel a lot of the time for us, for people, and if they're not full-time, then all of the time, then it sort of is more efficient for people to work remotely at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. That's cool. I want to talk a bit about the future of working. It's been very front of mind for many over the last few years. What does that mean to you, and how has your work style changed in the last few years, maybe from COVID, or maybe it was like this before?
Yeah, so we founded Webbased around the ethos that everything is web-based, and it's going to be web-based going forward. I was surprised we could actually get the name at that stage. It was still available.
True.
For our domain and things. But so we've been in that space for quite a while. COVID helped us with that. It put a lot of other people that weren't there yet into that space as well. So that changed things a lot for us, that we didn't have to necessarily go and present in person at meetings anymore. We could do what we were doing with our team already, doing things online. So I think we have been in that space for quite some time, and I think most businesses are too now. Now the next thing for us is this AI division that we're building to then help sort of optimise businesses from a perspective of things like decreasing their tech stacks and things, of not needing 40 softwares to do things that maybe a couple of things will do, and also sort of just optimising people's times of through things like bots on the website answering somebody's question, and then they're actually a qualified lead once they're getting in touch with that person, rather than that person needing to answer that question time and time and time and time again.
Yeah.
So that's probably the biggest thing for us, is actually just how do we be a part of that, and how do we bring that to other businesses to make their lives easier as well.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I love what you said, that the pandemic, COVID, actually put this front of mind for people. And honestly, within like a week, people had to know how to make sure everything was web-based, but that definitely made owners and leaders of big corporates and things go, this is so important and needs to be priority within the business. So good to hear it was a great thing for you guys and what you do.
It was, and we actually empowered a lot of other businesses that weren't there, like you said, where they had to get there through some of the funding that the regional business partners provided. So we were able to help implement initiatives for people that were sort of stuck, to make that easier for them too. So we've we're excited about the sort of journey we've been on as part of that for ourselves and other businesses.
Yeah, to be able to help more, that's great. How do you foster a sense of community and belonging around your remote teams? I actually even looked on your social media and saw that you've been to some awards things together, or are those important in terms of, I know remote working works really well for you guys, but is there a point where it's like actually coming together every now and then helps and fosters that sense of community? And
yes, definitely. So that can be tricky with regards to the web-based side of things when we've actually got people overseas, we've got people in parts of the country that it's not easy for them to come up all the time. Yes, we've been part of awards with some clients, so some of the we'll offer it to people that want to be part of it, and they're more than welcome to come along. Obviously, for the Tikiteboo side of things, it is a people-based business.
It is a
lot
community.
Of it. So the girls are coming in. We've got some exciting, like I was saying, talent coming on board to help us with the building the social side of things. So they will be, quite hands-on and part of that, so they're able to come in and connect with each other. Like I said, we also have just built a cool portal for Tikiteboo where we've got, intros to each other, building a connection with each other. They're able to talk between each other. So,
that's cool. That's awesome to hear. Love that. Side question. Do you struggle or find it easy to jump between the different organisations?
I struggle some days, to be honest. Actually, the hardest thing is allocating the time for things that don't necessarily generate as much revenue as others. So, you've got a passion project that you're hugely passionate about, but then you've got your business that actually generates the revenue to be able to have passion projects. So it's really just balancing the time, and actually I'm working on that at the moment with a set schedule of how many hours a day we allocate to each thing, or if it's particular days that we do that. So just working through that as the demands of Tikiteboo become more intense with it growing and that sort of thing. So it's really, I think as an entrepreneur, you're generally good at sort of, you're fairly self-disciplined and fairly good at time management and things, or if you're not, you sort of learn pretty quickly to be. So it's really now just defining my schedule on that. So it is actually something that I'm working on at the moment.
Yeah, no, that's cool, because I think there's a lot of business owners that have a passion project on the side or an impact initiative that they like to give back to. And it's that balance, right, of going, well, I need to make money to be able to do good. And where do I find the time to do that? And how do I divvy up my time to make sure it's effective in both areas? So
definitely,
it's quite interesting. We're seeing more and more trying to juggle with that too.
Yes.
Very cool. Last question to sort of round off the conversation. Do you have any personal or professional goals that you're currently working towards?
So personally, it's just learning to, it's to be myself again after being a mum, as my pure focus for so long. And then also, just with regards to the business, I am attending lots of sort of connecting events with different women and men, obviously, but I really am enjoying working with other women in the industry and outside of the industries who are passionate about projects that they're working on. So that's the biggest thing, is really just working on that network again and forming a community around both businesses that we've got. I've got big plans for our AI side of things and what we're doing, and so I'm really focusing on that side of things as well. But it's just, I think the biggest thing is having so much more time each day now where I'm focusing on the business, which is exciting. So,
is there anything you'd give your younger self a heads up on when it comes to balancing both, or?
Try not to do everything perfectly. That's the biggest thing.
Fantastic.
Let things go. If the house is messy, do not worry about it. If there's still things that you haven't done at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You've got tomorrow. So I think the thing is, pick your core things that you can focus on and that is important to you. Obviously, personally and as a mother, and just focus on those and don't sweat the small stuff on other things, because it's a long road if you try and do everything perfect.
Yeah, that's such cool advice. Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing that as a little extra piece of gold.
Yes.
But thank you for your time as well. It's so cool to hear your story and what life looks like for you. You're doing some incredible things, having amazing impact, both in the space of allowing businesses to do what they're good at. I love that thought, and bring the human element to their business, and freeing up time and energy for them to thrive. And then the work that you're doing within the space of empowering young people as well to get into their jobs and take that leap of confidence. So thank you for the work you're doing within the community, and thanks for your time to be on the Icehouse podcast.
Thank you, Bryar. Much appreciated.